Imagine a world in which the success of every covert operation was not only dependent on the charisma and expertise of James Bond, but also on the brilliant intellect of a single individual. This individual would not be armed with guns, but rather with wit, innovation, and a collection of tools that would blow your mind. This genius was brought to life by Desmond Llewelyn for more than 3 decades in the role of Q, the famed inventor who was responsible for some of James Bond's most memorable weapons of espionage. However, who was the individual who was responsible for the devices? His remarkable odyssey, from being a prisoner of war to becoming the adored face of one of the most enduring characters in cinema, raises the question what stories lay beneath the surface of his incredible journey. Don't leave just yet, for the tale of Desmond Llewelyn is so amazing that not even James Bond could fathom it. The 12th of September, 1914, found Desmond Wilkinson Llewellyn being born at the coastal town of Newport, which is located in Wales. He was brought up in a humble environment, but he was instilled with a strong sense of morals and discipline by his father, who worked as an engineer in the coal mining industry. When Desmond was younger, he did not exhibit any signs of having an interest in performing. In fact, his initial aspiration was not even remotely related to the entertainment industry. Having a strong desire to live a life of service and spirituality, he had the aspiration of becoming a pastor. But fate had other things in store for us. He began to develop his innate charisma and skill for acting while he was a student at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art RADA. It was in this place that he first became aware of his interest in acting. Llewellyn developed a theatrical persona that would eventually come to define his profession as he perfected his skills with the assistance of knowledgeable mentors through the course of his career. As he became more involved in the performing arts, his early aspirations of entering the ministry progressively drifted away. As his career was beginning to take shape, however, history interfered and changed the course of events. When World War II broke out in 1939, Desmond Llewellyn, like many other young men of his generation, responded to the call to serve his nation by enlisting in the military. As he transitioned from performing on stage to donning a military uniform, he joined the Royal Welsh Fusiliers and was promoted to the rank of second lieutenant. His resilience would be put to the test in ways that he could never have anticipated before the war, which would prove to be a defining chapter in his life. Throughout the Battle of France in 1940, German forces were successful in seizing Llewellyn throughout the conflict. The subsequent 5 years were spent by him as a prisoner of war in a variety of camps located all over Europe. Despite the fact that these years were marked by adversity and uncertainty, Llewellyn succeeded in surviving thanks to his unwavering sense of humor and his dogged drive. He once noted how his time spent in prison helped him develop a stronger character and gave him an inner fortitude that would serve him well throughout his entire life. Llewellyn was eager to resume his acting career once he was released from prison at the conclusion of the war and returned to his native country of Britain. A great number of actors encountered difficulties in the years following the war, since the entertainment business was still in the process of recuperating from the effects of the war. As Desmond Llewellyn began to steadily grow his profile, he began to take on smaller roles in British films and television projects. Despite the fact that his early career was not particularly glamorous, he refused to give up and continued to participate in projects that highlighted his talent and versatility. Unbeknownst to him, his big break was just around the corner. He was completely wrong. It was in 1963 when Llewellyn was cast in the role of Q in the James Bond film From Russia with Love. This was the moment that transformed his life forever. Although the character of Q had been presented for a limited period of time in the film Dr. No, it was Llewellyn's interpretation of the character that allowed him to become a much-loved and indispensable component of the Bond franchise. Quartermaster, often known as Q, was the head of Q Branch, a fictional section of MI6 that was responsible for designing the high-tech devices that became familiar with the James Bond films. Q was also the name of the fictional division. To say that Llewellyn's portrayal of Q was legendary would be an understatement. Bond's suave and cavalier nature was perfectly complemented by his severe demeanor and dry wit, which made him the ideal complementary character. The relationship between Q and Bond was one of the most memorable aspects of the series. It was full of hilarious exchanges and mutual respect for one another. Despite the fact that Q frequently reprimanded Bond for his irresponsible behavior, particularly his propensity to break expensive equipment, their encounters were always characterized by a sense of warmth and friendship. The devices that Q possessed became a defining characteristic of the James Bond franchise. These gadgets included sophisticated equipment such as laser watches and explosive pens, as well as intricate vehicles that were outfitted with missile launchers and submarines. The films gained an additional element of authenticity and appeal as a result of Llewellyn's ability to introduce these devices without making any facial expressions, regardless of how absurd they appeared to be. The audiences anxiously anticipated his moments since they were aware that they would include a variety of elements, including humor, mystery, and technological amazement. Desmond Llewelyn has made appearances in 17 Bond films over the course of his career. He has collaborated with 5 different actors who have already portrayed the role of James Bond: Sean Connery, George Lazenby, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, and Pierce Brosnan. Each of the actors gave their own distinct interpretation to the part of James Bond, and Llewellyn was able to adapt without any difficulty, retaining the same charming and witty qualities that characterized Q. The fact that he was able to develop alongside the franchise while yet remaining faithful to the character won him the hearts of viewers all over the world. In addition to the James Bond films, Llewellyn featured in a wide range of other projects during his career. In addition to his roles in the well-known family film Chitty Chitty Bang Bang 1968, he also had roles in a number of British television programs, such as Follyfoot and Dixon of Dock Green. His involvement with Q in the Bond franchise, on the other hand, served to obscure a significant portion of his other work. It appeared as though Llewellyn was never bothered by this, and he frequently expressed his appreciation for the chance to play such a monumental part. It was previously remarked by him that being a part of the Bond films was like being in a big family, and he treasured the bonds he developed with members of the cast and crew throughout the course of his participation in the films. Desmond Llewelyn was well known for his kindness, humility, and dedication to his family and his personal life. He was recognized for these qualities. In 1938, he tied the knot with Pamela Mary Pantlin, and for more than 6 decades, their marriage remained a solid and enduring commitment. They had 2 boys together, whose names were Justin and Ivor. In spite of his stardom, Llewellyn maintained his connection to the real world by regularly attending events relating to James Bond and interacting with fans. His friendly demeanor and genuine generosity made him a beloved figure, not only in the entertainment industry but also in the real world. When Llewellyn made his final appearance as Q, it was in the 1999 film The World Is Not Enough. Q makes a touching statement in which he alludes to the fact that he will soon be retiring and introduces John Cleese as his successor. In light of the fact that it appeared to be the conclusion of an era for the much-loved character, the moment was bittersweet. Desmond Llewelyn, who was 85 years old at the time of his death, was tragically killed in a car accident on December 19, 1999, just a few weeks after the film was released worldwide. The catastrophe took place as he was making his way back from a book signing event for his autobiography. His passing away unexpectedly was a tragic loss for the James Bond franchise, as well as for his devoted followers all over the world. The legacy that Desmond Llewelyn left behind as Q is still one of a kind. A character who could have easily been relegated to a supporting position was elevated to a higher level of intelligence, comedy, and heart by his performance. On the contrary, he transformed Q into a cherished figure who played a significant role in the success and allure of the Bond flicks. It is because of his performances that new generations of filmmakers and fans continue to be inspired by him, which guarantees that his contribution to the film industry will never be forgotten. The tenacity, talent, and unwavering charisma that Desmond Llewelyn possessed allowed him to carve out a place in the annals of film history that relatively few people can match. He has a story of success, devotion, and an uncompromising commitment to his art. His story is one of triumph. In spite of the fact that he is no longer with us, the memory of his work continues to live on, serving as a reminder that the man who is hidden behind the gadgets is sometimes the true hero.